Hi there. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class. Please feel free to leave your questions and comments in the chat at any time. I'll answer them for you live. We talk about words, sounds, American accent patterns, anything that will help you in your overall fluency in American English. So feel free to ask. At the start of class today, I want to talk about a couple of difficult words that tend to be challenging to pronounce. I'd say these can be challenging even for native speakers, simply because they have multiple R sounds in them. So anytime we have to sequence Rs, we have to have that very precise tongue position to get the sound. And then, of course, there's some issues with these particular words that have to do with the spelling of the words as well. So we'll talk about those. First of all, the word laborer is challenging because it has the combination at the end. So I have to do back-to-back sounds. And the spelling challenge here is that we have the letters OR and ER. So even though labor is spelled with an OR, it's not labor. We don't have any sort of or sound, but rather an sound. So you can think of it more like first syllable stress, lay, and then think about a labor. And I think if you break it up this way in your mind, of course, when we're speaking, we're not saying laborer. But if you do that for slow practice and visualize that, laborer, you can be a little bit more accurate, and then you can work on being more fluent with it, laborer. Even when I say laborer, I have to kind of slow down a little bit, be careful to do the sounds. But I just found after doing that practice of slowing it down and speeding it back up, it came more easily and fluently to me. Now, I, of course, have the advantage of being a native speaker, but I might be talking in a conversation and have to say laborer and have a little bit of a struggle there. So just know that that's just the fact of the matter. With certain words, they're going to be challenging because of the sequence of the sounds in them. Then looking at harder and starter, these two words really actually have the same sounds except for the initial H and ST sounds. So the DER and the TER both sound more like a DER. That's because in a word like starter, this T is going to be a flap T. And we tend to flap both Ds and Ts in the middle of words when they're between two vowels. You might find it harder to do so in a word like harder or starter because you are already having to do the R and the in this word. So just like in laborer, there's a bit of a challenge making sure that both of those R's stay tight. You want to watch out that it doesn't become harder with more of a soft British R where they don't really make that tight back American R. And then also that you can use that that light sound. So in both of these, harder and starter, again, I recommend rather than thinking hard think about har being long, and then your is just a short little light add-on. Harder, starter. So that was our starter for today. Just looking at some details with some of these harder R or words, and actually no ors today, just ers and rs, and how to practice to use these smoothly and easily and overcome some of the differences that are there because of spelling. So thank you for your patience, and I will feel free to, as I said, leave your requests. I will begin answering your questions now. So we have a question about the word toad and toe and toad. So to toe, that toe is the same as that toe, and it just has the O diphthong. So whichever way you visualize it, thinking about making sure that you're not just doing toe with just an O by itself, but rather O, your jaw closes and your tongue lifts and relaxes as you say the O diphthong. Then when we change it to toad, those two are the same. And that's actually also the same as this toad, like frog and toad. And you simply have to add the D sound. Maybe not simply, it might not be easy for you to say toad, but basically, if any of these ways of spelling it make it easier for you, thinking about that, when I see it like this, my tendency is maybe to think more like toe-wed, 2 syllables, and it's not 2 syllables, it's just one, toad. So just trying toe and then toad may help you. We had a question about my earlier word, laborer is just someone who labors. So we might say the laborers on the job. It's also a technical classification in union work, union laborers. So those who labor. It's another word for workers. Okay, we have a question about wallet. So for wallet, we have the aw vowel. It looks like this in the dictionary. First syllable stress. So wa. This is the same start we have on words like wash and want. I'm having some rounding on that lax vowel. Wa, wallet, wallet. And then actually we probably have an I sound, an unstressed second syllable, wallet, or even a bit of a schwa, wallet. What you want is just to be very short and reduced on that second syllable. So long wall, and then light, short, let, wallet. Great request. We also had a request for the word receipt. That goes hand in hand with wallet. So I can put my receipt in my wallet. This is one that's just got strange spelling. This pronunciation is fairly straightforward. It's just a second syllable stress. So the letter E is going to say your I sound, again, short and reduced. Letter C says the S sound in this word. And then this EI, it's an unusual spelling for the E sound. The P is silent. And then we say the T. So it sounds like, I'm going to write it here as You really can do an rih, but thinking of it as a schwa, as the is going to make you have the right rhythm. Receipt. And then I'll rewrite the E vowel as letters EE. Or you could write it's the same as this, seat, receipt. So receipt, the receipt or receipt of goods. Yeah, hopefully that helps you. Hi, welcome. Nice to see everyone here. Let's look at also the word sustainable was requested. Sustainable. Sustainable has second syllable stress. So my stain syllable is going to be long and have the clear vowel, and then I'll have my reduced able at the end. Again, we start with the schwa, sounds like and then my stain, that's the same as the word stain. So we'll see our stress marker, our A diphthong. We often spell that with AY or AI. And then sustainable. You're going to have a little schwa. Bull is going to basically have no vowel between the B and the L. It's a dark L. You want to have a little bit of a thinking about the sound, sustainable, but go as quickly as you can from your B to your L without much vowel. Bull, sustainable. Great word. Thank you for your request. Okay. We have a question about hurt, head, and module. So I do have a video for module. After class, I will put in the description and in the comments for this video some links to other videos that I refer to, other resources for you. So do return to see a longer video on your requests. For hurt, we have the letters UR saying the tense sound. That's the same sound as in bird, or word or person. Let's just use pert because it's the same configuration with the T. So you want a tight back starting with then add your H. Her, hurt. So it might help to think about it like the word her plus a T, hurt. Then you also asked about the word head. This one is also a little tricky because letters EA often will say E, but in head they say like in red. So you might think of it this way, like head. You'll see it in the IPA with this. Perhaps pairing it with the word red, like redhead, might help you, that those two words rhyme and being able to get that sound. And then you also asked about module. So module or module, you can kind of do an oo there in the final syllable or an but we have letter O says ah. That's where the stress is. That's going to be long, ma. And then in American English, module, this du, we do a j sound. And then we have our dark L at the end with a little bit of a schwa, module. If you do a little bit with a little bit of an oo, module, oo, they'll just have kind of a oo sound moving into your schwa. So you have a little option there, module or module. Americans will typically just reduce more to the schwa, module, because we have our length on the ma sound. Good word. As I said, I do have a video for that I can put in the comments for you after, so you can get a little bit more detail and help for that particular word. Thanks for that request. Excuse me. We have a question for apparently. I also have a video for this word apparently, so I'll be happy to give you a link for that. For this, thinking about the word parent that's within apparently can be helpful. And these letters AR say the air diphthong. The stress is on the pair syllable, so our letter A is going to say the sound. And then our air is going to be long, a pair, a parent. Parent, we're going to have just a little bit of a schwa, a parent. So keep that syllable very short, and then we end with li, tense E sound, apparently. Apparent and apparently. Great. Apparently. One thing I also will say here is that we don't tend to release this T. It's not apparently, but rather apparently. We use a stopped T there, which means your N is going to be very short and you aren't really going to hear that T. You just stop the air, stop short, apparently, and then release right into your L of the li. You can get more help for those details in my video for apparently. Also, just as I'm talking, if you have a question about when I say things like stop T or vowel schwa, when I mention these different terms, I do have videos for these different sounds. Of course, these come up in our word of the day videos as well. So I'm usually going to be referring you to word of the day if I've talked about apparently or module. But you can get help for all of the sounds of English in our Sounds of English course that walks you through sounds, spelling, the IPA symbols that we use, and accent error patterns to watch out for those sounds. So that's a really great foundation for pronouncing any word that you might like in American English. That's on our website on speechmodification.com. We have free courses on there, and also Sounds of English course is just under $2. Like many of our paid courses, or all of our paid courses, are inexpensive like that to be able to be available to more people, again, as a good resource for you. Great. So thank you. Okay. We have a question about how do we link the words I've tried opening and also I'd also. So I've tried opening. I've tried opening. We tend to run that all together with open. I've tried opening. The ope syllable is stressed, so we're going to be kind of fast. I've tried opening. That's where your length is going to be. You are probably going to link the D and the O, but you don't really want to do that forcefully. Not like I've tried opening. I've tried opening, tried op. So my D gets released right into the O of opening. For I've tried, there's not much we can do there to link. You don't need a big break. I've tried opening, but that's just pretty normal linking. And then when it comes to your other request, I'd also. Again, we tend to just link that D and the A there, so it kind of sounds like I'd also. I'd also. Main stress on the all. I'd also like to link those words as well. We have a lot of videos about linking and reductions in our Real Talk playlist and in our Real Talk course. They look at how the written words differ from the spoken sounds, especially in connected speech. So if I'm just saying a single word, I tend to pronounce it differently than when I'm speaking fluently in speech. So a lot of what we need to do is build up our pronunciation for sounds and for words, but then begin to practice in short phrases and integrating into actual speech. Because what you'll find is you can master a sound by itself or master certain words by themselves. Then you go to use them, and the old habits come out, the old pronunciation. It's difficult to sequence those sounds and to use them fluently and easily. So just working your way up from sound to word to phrase and sentence is a really good practice for building those new motor habits. And looking at, if I spend a long time just practicing on a word and something changes a little bit when I'm connecting in real speech, I'm going to miss that element. So do check out our Real Talk playlist and our Real Talk course for some more tips on how that all works. Okay, we have a question about dove. So Dove the bird and Dove the soap, same pronunciation. This is just a brand name, so it's going to be capitalized. The letter O says the vowel, so it's going to be a stressed schwa, and it sounds basically like dove. Yeah, so similar to another way you can think about it is thinking about the word done. That has the same vowel. I like to write letter U for vowel schwa. It just helps me kind of visualize, because particularly letter O does a lot of different things. Of course, all of the vowels, we have 5 vowel letters, A, E, I, O, and U, and sometimes Y. We have 16 vowel sounds or more when we have combinations. And so these letters have to stand in for lots of different sounds. And so kind of thinking about O, for example, it actually most often will say the ah vowel, like in hot. It also says O, like in no, and like in dove or done or some. So learning what the letters are, what the vowel sounds are, can be super helpful. This is also something that's in my Sounds of English course. And you may have noticed, if you've been following the channel, I've been working my way through the individual letters, both vowels and consonants, as well as all of the different sounds of English, looking back and forth. So taking letter O, telling you all the vowel sounds it can say, taking vowel sounds like schwa, the sound, and showing you all the different ways it's spelled. It's really worth spending some time looking at that, because we tend to have accent error patterns on certain sounds because of our native language, but then also we'll have additional confusion because of how we spell in English. So sometimes a word might not be that hard for you to say. It's just that you think it's supposed to have different sounds, like dove. Dove the bird, the noun. There's also dove. So the verb dove, that has the O. So, and that follows the rules a little bit more clearly, because usually when there's an E at the end, it makes that vowel letter say its name. So O plus E equals O, A plus E equals A. The letter name, the diphthong, is going to be what's pronounced. So dove, for example, drove, or tote. All of these have that silent E at the end that change the vowel sound of the letter. Dove is an exception, the noun. I'm not sure why, probably where it came from. That's part of why we have so many different spellings, different patterns for spelling in English, is that we got our words from lots of different languages at different times. Then we also had shifts in how our vowels were pronounced at different times as well. And the spelling may or may not have changed from Old English to Middle English to Modern English. So lots of different excuses for why spelling is so challenging in English. Again, learning the sounds, learning the symbols, and also ways to rewrite. If I write dove like that really might help my brain to be able to know that it has that vowel schwa rather than the O as in dove. So those are all strategies that I model here in class, and I recommend when you're noticing a challenging word to either picture it in your mind or even write it down with something that follows some more conventional spelling patterns in English. Also looking for what patterns you tend to be biased on. If your language has letter O and it always says O, you're going to see a word like dove and want to say dove, which is okay for one version of it, but not for the other. So kind of being aware of what happens with letters in your native language and what typically happens with letters in English can be super helpful as well. Okay. So we had a follow-up question on dove in the sea. So if I'm saying dove in the sea, it'll just link. Sea is our main stress in this phrase, dove in the sea. It's going to sound like dove in the sea. Dove in the sea. All kind of links together. Length here. She dove in the sea. Great. Okay. Thank you for that request. I will be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class, and next Friday with our live question and answer class. I'll check in on the channel page for the time for next Friday's class and whether we'll be having it. It is going to be a holiday here in the US, but I am thinking of having class, so I'll let you know closer to the time whether you can expect to see me at our usual Friday time. Sunday, we'll have our members-only class where channel members can ask their questions throughout the week and also attend that class live. If you're interested in learning more about channel membership, click the join button and you can see the other perks we offer. Thanks so much for being here today and being part of the class. Thanks for your good suggestions, and I look forward to seeing you in our next class. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Thank you.